I had to learn Japanese to read this stuff, and by the time I figured it out, I'd already learned how to play Kai.
Feel it coming over me, I feel it all around me. I've been waiting for this moment all my life, it's my destiny. There's no fire deep inside of me, it's waiting to come out now. No matter what, no matter how, I know I'll make it through somehow. Cause when the road feels so long, I'll still be holding on. I'm gonna keep on going, I know I'll be strong, yeah. Indestructible, I won't let nobody break me down. Indestructible, nothing's gonna stop me now. Indestructible, gonna make you gonna keep on going. Indestructible, the last man standing.
Back again on the big stage, top 8 ultimate wins Marvel. Right here, we step up to fight fears. Even though I'm nervous, my courage rising up and refurbished. About the gamma crush, crack the surface, then I'm back to my purpose. I'm on flames like Ghost Rider, my fire brand will leave you blazed. I'm like Danny Rand in my dragon stance. Going man to man at EVO, you don't stand a chance. My combos cover the string like Wesker in a Phantom dance. I'm feeling it, it's on tonight, it's time to fight. I'm Taskmaster, my blast will give you stress fractures. Web sling, kick slash, and I hit that X factor. About to go for that win, feel a lot of power over my skin. Got me mad and glowing up red, with all these combos up in my head. And I can to the block up, take your HP down to 0 like Flopper. I'm so amazing, screaming super moves you never have thought of. Berserker charge when I start up, these clones bust through my arms. And I'm a comeback kid in the midst of the storm. Just call me Justin Wong. This is my moment in time, I'm ready for the battle and war. I'm dropping blows like hammers, I'm super powered like Thor. I'm surgical like Virgil, every opponent I rip is just another stepping stone to my championship. Let's go.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Fray. My name is Hanzo Gonzo. Hopefully you are home, safe, wherever home is, and you're not stricken down by the EVO virus. Tonight we're going to talk about EVO. We're going to talk about it with our panel. Our panel of very distinguished gentlemen. I'll introduce them now. First and foremost, you heard him on Sunday commentating BlazBlue Top 8, some other commentary through the weekend for BlazBlue, and little known fact, I actually commentated Marvel Top 8, Grand Finals Marvel, with this guy in Daigo's very first and I think only U.S. Marvel tournament.
Yeah, that was a good time.
Back in 2010 at NCR 8. Twitter.com/DacidBro. Welcome, DacidBro.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
He's a husband, hype man, Marvel god. He wears a lot of hats, which is a good thing because he sells hats.
Marvel God's a new one. I've never gotten that one before.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about Twitter.com/IFCYipes.
I was going to say
Yipes.
What's good? What's good?
You really lost me on that one.
I do like wearing my hats, man.
Sorry.
Well, that makes a lot more sense.
Oh my god, I'm gonna lose it forever at you thinking I was talking about you. Just anyway.
That's my point.
He tied for 17th place at EVO, but he'll always be 4th place in our hearts. Twitter.com/that Mike Ross guy. It's Mike Ross.
I just want to add, to be fair, I thought you were talking about Dacid Bro as well.
Thank you. Okay, good.
I just want to add that.
All right. Okay. Good.
All right. So EVO, this little thing, this little shindig you may have heard of. It was this past weekend in Las Vegas, and lots of really hype moments this year. We'll go into each of our favorite moments bit by bit. I just want to run down the results like we usually do, in case there's anyone out there who possibly did not watch, or I don't know. In Street Fighter 4, you had Luffy taking the title from France. Marvel vs. Capcom 3, you had Justin Wong. Smash Brothers Melee, you had Mango repeating for the second year. CD Jr. took Killer Instinct in the game's first year. Galileo came back from a massive deficit to win BlazBlue and 30 grand. The King of Fighters 13 was won by Zhao Hai. He beat Tokido in the final. And Juju was won by Sonic Fox. Tekken Tag 2. JDCR, sponsored by Twitch, as a matter of fact. And then X-Mania USA, Tournament of Legends 2 was won by Mal, playing Vega. All right, so we talked about BlazBlue at $30,000. Dacibro, you were front row center for that tournament. I don't even know where to start. It was amazing to watch. I watched it from home. I was actually working with IGN this weekend to provide coverage for the event through them. So I was watching from my computer all weekend, including BlazBlue Top 8. And just give me your brief thoughts. Let's get it started. Just a summary of what was going through your head the entire time.
I mean, it was one of those moments where, as it's happening, you realize you're like beginning to witness history. Like, I've never actually seen a top 8 like that in any game ever, and I know that sounds really biased, but I typically kind of fall asleep during BlazBlue Top 8s in the past, and the level of play that was demonstrated here and the presence of mind and like just the focus and the emotion, like I've never seen I've been to weddings that were less emotional than that top 8. Like, it was just, everyone was like crying, everyone was just like falling over themselves. Literally, Dogara's girlfriend fell on the ground and just wept after he lost. It was just the most unreal thing. And I mean, it's just like, I don't know if I'll ever experience anything like that again.
Made me think maybe Dogger's girlfriend was crying because, like, Saturday night she was on her laptop shopping vacation tickets and shit to watch it slip out of her fingers. Like, no!
And
no.
He could have won the tournament on 7 different rounds. Like, when you think about, like, you must think you're going to win at that point, at least once.
Well, what did you think of watching Dora Bang lose? I think that if there was a crowd favorite, it was definitely Dora.
Especially late in the tournament. There were a couple other crowd favorites that lost earlier than that. Tiku's Tager was definitely one of them. And Kogatan's Ragna is a very like wild favorite. And then we had SG, who's the American representative, who did much better than anyone could have really expected. But as it got further and further towards the end, Dora's playstyle is just such a crowd pleaser. So of course he's going to be adopted at that point. And I know that everyone was very sad to see him go in third. But I mean, third is very impressive considering his character is decisively like mid-tier at best, you know?
A lot of people said that no Americans would make top 8, or at the most one American would make top 8, and one did. It was SG. Were you surprised to see SG as the American who made top 8? Were you expecting somebody else?
It wasn't the most surprising to me, but I've really had my ear to the ground. SG has been really unknown as a tournament player. He's actually been more noticed in Japan than America in some ways. They've called him the American Galileo. At least a few of them have. And I mean, to that end, he's a very clean player. So it makes sense he would do well, but there were definitely bigger favorites as far as like the nation. You had Banana Ken in the bracket, you had Lord Knight in the bracket. Those are players that have consistently done, you know, more impressively in the past.
Do you feel like there's any credence or credibility to people who claim that, EVO is proof that Kokonoe is not broken they say, oh, well, she got touched by the patch and that brought her down to level. But I mean, there were no Kokonoes in top 8. There were a lot of Kokonoes in top 32.
Yes. So it was this just bizarre Kokonoe slaughter in top 16 or so where between SG and Tiku, they both beat, I think, 4 Kokonoes apiece. And it was just this bizarre moment where we realized there's no Kokonoes in top 8. And it was just this huge sigh of relief because the game's had kind of a crazy stigma around Kokonoe. And she has been nerfed significantly. And I think this is enough proof that this is actually a very good version of the game here. At 1.0, little crazy. Kokonoe was kind of nuts. But I think this version has definitely fixed that.
All right. We'll talk a little bit more about BlazBlue here in a moment. I want to transition to what I felt was the other super hype top 8 and probably provided the tournament's best moment overall, and that was Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Yipes,
Yo.
what was going through your head when you saw Justin put out that Shoryu super to beat the Phoenix Feathers, and then he caught Dr. Doom on the bad assist call? Like, what were you thinking, man?
What was I thinking? What I really wanted to say on there, champ, you're a dumbass. That's what I thought about the whole time. Because, I mean, you already got Phoenix and the Feathers, so I don't understand why would you call an assist at the same time when you have the advantage anyway. But I saw what exactly happened. I messed him up. He thought he hit him, but he really didn't. So Akuma fell out, and then Justin was mashing on the team super. That's all really. But when I saw that, I was like, Justin got another shot, man. That's what I got from it. You know what I mean?
Do you think that Ryan could have pulled that out if he hadn't lost Doom as well as Phoenix? If Phoenix would have just died and Doom would have been back? I think that Justin had Akuma and Storm waiting for him. So do you think that Ryan could have pulled that out?
Yeah, no, he only had Akuma at that time.
Oh, okay, that's right.
He only had Akuma. But, yeah, if Phoenix died, definitely it would have been a good chance for champ. If not a good chance, at least a 50-50. But, Justin be pulling out these random, most basic fundamental strats that'll just work in the clutch. So, I mean, he could have had a chance, but, it bit him in the ass for mashing, man. That's the life of a Phoenix player, bro.
You got to expect it. I mean, do you think it maybe Ryan was kind of autopilot or a little bit brain dead there? A little bit caught up in the moment?
Most definitely autopilot. I mean, it is a guarantee, right, if he made him block, but there was no blocking in the mixture, so kind of sucks for Ryan that went down like that. But, I mean, the worst that happened to Ryan was that brief moment in top 8 when he was facing Chris, and he was trying to just punish Doom for full screen with the super, and then he got the random level 3. He got like an input error, and then he lost all his bars, and that's what really bit him in the ass, man. So kind of sucks for Chan, but it was good for Chris, so we could get that legendary grand finals.
Well, the bracket played out as far as top 3 goes as pretty much as well as it could. You basically got the 3 guys who everybody thinks are the best. Any one of those 3 guys as a toss-up was who was going to win.
Yeah.
And had first, second, third, Justin, Chris, and Champ. So
those are definitely the guys right now holding it down.
Right.
They're the best for sure.
But anybody else? I mean, because I know that going into top 8, it was a bloodbath. There were guys that you would thought for sure would have made top 8, like PR Balrog, who didn't. Anybody that you were expecting to see in top 8 that got blown up early that you were surprised to hear they were out?
That was actually one of them. Yes, it was PR Balrog. To be honest, I wasn't surprised seeing Ray and Insane up there. I actually kind of had this gut feeling that they were gonna make it. Apology, man. That kind of sucked for him. I thought he was gonna make it for sure, but then that comeback from Chant
It was
the
a nice
day before.
comeback, though.
Yeah, it was a nice comeback. So I didn't expect that one. You know, because Apology Man's known for the one play a game, and Champ got to play, man. So
Apology Man gave
heartbreaking.
us the first 3 perfects at EVO.
Yeah, against
Oh, yeah,
TA
3 perfects in one round.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
played a set 3 perfects. So
Yeah,
I mean-
definitely against TA Wolf. Yeah, that was very unfortunate for his joystick, man, because he ain't get to press no buttons.
he just got to watch. He got to come to Vegas and watch the game get played.
Very, very unfortunate.
slot
for his
machine.
game. That's a pretty shitty slot machine right there, man.
So how do you feel right now if you're Flux and you talked all this shit to Coach Steve and you motivated him and you created a monster out of this guy? This guy didn't even play Marvel last year, and now here he is, top 8. Flux, where you at?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, they've been beefing for a while. You know what I mean? Definitely Flux. Yeah, to answer that question, yeah, he has been talking a lot of shit. I mean, Flux does good. It's just he always bumps into me before he makes it to even top 8. So that kind of stuff. For the past like 4 majors, he actually bumped into me and lost to me. So I could be to blame for Flux performance. But in terms of Steve has been grinding it out ever since Vanilla. Like, people haven't really seen him like in the media side of things. He actually has been playing a lot. Like back in the House of Chaos, he stops by my house from time to time. He goes to Ray's. He's been really grinding it out, man, in all the games too. So I'm really proud of him. He really did his thing.
All right, and then we rounded out the evening last weekend with Street Fighter 4 Luffy from France, the first non-Asian residing Street Fighter 4 champion. Mike Ross, is Rose broken?
No, Rose is not broken, but fortunately for Luffy, whatever, that fool had the perfect bracket for him. Not saying that anybody who was in his position would have won EVO. It's definitely not the truth. But that man is surrounded by Fei Longs and Sagats all day. And I don't know if you guys could see it where you were, but as soon as Luffy faced Bonchan in grand finals, the smile on Ryan Hart's face was from ear to ear. And I even talked to Ryan after the tournament. And I said, I was like, yo, Ryan, how much credit are you taking for Luffy winning EVO? And he was like, I'm not going to take all the credit, but I'll take 99.5%. So like, he was just super happy. Rose is not broken, but Rose is very powerful. Anybody who thinks she's bottom tier is an idiot, but she's definitely not like top 5 or nothing like that.
Do you feel like she's just a character that has a lot of really great tools, but is still very beatable, depending on how you play against her?
She's a character that is, yes, she's super solid. That's what makes her so strong and scary in the right hand. It's like, it's really hard to find her weakness, but she's not. I don't see an influx of Rose players popping up and getting first at all the tournaments. If you're not him, Arturo or Luffy. Luffy, Arturo, or Filipino man. Like, you're not going to see Roses dominating tournaments.
Well, I know low tier God thinks that she's low tier, so obviously.
Well, I mean, here we go. I don't know what to say about that.
Anyway,
really, Rose is not low tier.
She's got a lot of tools. I agree. Do you think maybe the only thing I could say, and I'll see if you agree on this, her backdash is a little out of control.
I've been saying that since the beginning of time. I have always felt her backdash was ridiculous. I think her forward dash is ridiculous as well. But, in the beginning of the game, that was her best tool, was her dashes. She kind of lacked in other areas, but come Ultra, they kind of buffed all of her damage, gave her more invincibility on the EX spiral arrow or whatever. So now she is just a really, really solid character. And then again, I still think that if Bonchan knew how to play that matchup, I don't think Luffy would have won. But that guy was in there having no idea how to play Rose versus Sagat, and it was forehead slapping watching it. I mean, rule number one: you do not engage in a fireball war with Rose. She'll win it every time. This fool sat like for the first 30 seconds, just giving her full meter every game.
Yeah, that is true.
Horrible to watch, but I'm pretty sure, if they rematch a month from now, he'll be ready.
Bro is a guy who, I mean, you're familiar with Street Fighter 4, obviously. You're familiar with fighting games on a fundamental level, but you don't competitively play Street Fighter 4.
Right.
But as an outsider watching this, what were your thoughts on Street Fighter 4 Top 8 this year?
It was solid. I mean, there were some pretty big surprises. I definitely would never put money on Luffy. So I mean, and that's not to take anything away from it. It's just the bracket was so stacked. You had Kings dying early. You had Daigo out like before top 32. Is that right?
Yeah. He lost to John. I think he was tied for 40 whatever.
Jeez.
40th.
Yeah. It was just. I mean, you get to a level of play in Street Fighter and. There's just too many killers in the bracket now. I mean, it's hard to call a top 8 anymore.
Yipes, any players that you wanted to see in top 8 that you were surprised not to make it, or maybe players that you were in top?
Daddy Choi, man. I wanted to see Daddy Choi,
Nice.
Jonathan Choi.
Hey, he got his moment though. He beat Daigo.
He whooped Daigo's ass with exactly 3 moves. Daigo's ass. It was the fireball, the solar plex, and the sweep.
He whooped
his ass. The 3 moves of death. He whooped his ass with that. I mean, it was great to see Choi come out of. I mean, he never really left the scene. He'll just come out, he'll give his respect and play. If he does well, he does well. If not, he'll just go be a boss somewhere else. But the way that he whooped Daigo's, and the irony of it all is that Daigo lost to Ryu, man. That was the irony behind that whole thing. That was really funny. I actually knew Champ was gonna beat Ryan. I actually was calling for side bets and stuff like, yo, man, I like Ryan. Nobody wanted to take it. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, we actually got confidence in Ryan. So that was pretty interesting. Now, let me go back to that Bonchan roasting real quick. The one thing that kind of bit Bonchan in the ass, and Sanford and Reinhardt is right. He didn't even attempt to rush down Luffy a little bit. Like Mike said, he was trying to win that fireball war. It wasn't working. Luffy was like rarely jumping. It was rarely that he jumped. So he should have like approached it a little different. But in terms of the zone war, he was definitely not winning. So it was pretty interesting.
I think John Choi's turned into like the Shenlong. He's turned into the ultimate gatekeeper. If you can't defeat John Choi, you'll never need success.
With Ryu, man.
Right. That's ridiculous. And then like he was dropping links. Daigo was dropping links. He was. I mean, that was tough to watch. It was like a lion tearing at a gopher or something, and John Choi was mauling him. All right. So we got some questions filtering in. We'll switch gears a little bit, go back to the conversation in a second. And this is going to be a question for each of you individually. I'll start with Dasabro. That dude guy wants to know, for everyone, EVO brings out players who don't get out to many tournaments. Well, who was one person that you enjoyed seeing play this weekend that you wouldn't necessarily get to see very often?
Well, for me, I get very easy answers here because the grand finals for BlazBlue was Dogora and Galileo, and we don't get to see that here ever. So for that to be not only a match we got to watch, but for that to be the premiere match and for it to be such an insanely good match, that was definitely my moment for that.
Yipes, who was a player that you maybe don't get to see very often who got to come out to EVO that you were glad to see?
That I was glad to see like play, period?
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be top 8 or nothing, right?
No, go ahead.
Definitely Sanford Kelly. I actually did want to see him go far, but unfortunately he bumped into Mago. Mago did his thing, so. But definitely Sanford Kelly, man. Because when he gets going, when he's on a roll, he's a real issue to anybody. So.
Sanford Kelly's got the wind at his back. I think he's going to have a good 2014 going into next year's EVO. Mike Ross, your pick for a player that maybe you don't get to see very often, but you're glad to see at EVO this year.
Yeah, it's not the player that I don't get to see often. It's that I like to see Snake Eyes play people he doesn't get to play often. So I like to see. Yeah, so like I always get pumped whenever I find out like him playing Cien, him playing Tokido. That's all I like to see because Snake Eyes is like my favorite player to watch.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Snake Eyes was very exciting. like he destroyed Ricky. It was impressive.
Yeah.
To watch.
Yeah, I think Ricky kind of went in with like just a mental. He psyched himself out probably because in retrospect, after the match, we were kind of talking, and he kind of knows that he probably should have played Poison or something, or Rolento, tried something different than Luffy.
Yeah, Seth Killian was actually making a really good point during the stream, during the match. He was talking about how Justin and Ricky have both kind of popularized the anti-Zangief strats with Rufus. Like they both were the first guys to like come up with a lot of the anti-Zangief tech as Rufus players. And so these guys, Justin and Ricky both felt pretty confident fighting Zangief, and then he faces Snake Eyes, and like Snake Eyes just
he's just another kind of beast, man.
What did you think about Snake Eyes' play versus Fudo, where he was playing just basically with 2 buttons?
Oh my gosh! I mean, he did good, but even before that match, I knew that there was just unfortunately like a 0% chance Snake Eyes could beat him, and that's because I watched them play at the 25th anniversary. When Fudo played against Snake Eyes, and it was just a mauling, like 4 straight rounds or something bad. And the reason why is because Fudo's main training partner is Itabashi Zangief, so he knew like that matchup better than anybody else. So as soon as they went into play, I didn't even want to watch it because I knew it was going to be painfully boring, because Snake Eyes couldn't do anything to get damage.
It was a good match. I mean,
it was a great match. He almost, he tried, but Fudo's just too lame.
I think he played about as well as you could expect him to play.
Absolutely. I
was
just going to say he just needed to take some more risks in order to win that match. A solid play will not give him the victory against Fei Long.
I was a believer. I wanted Snake Eyes to win. I was definitely impressed with his play this weekend. He did as well as he could, and I don't think his results are anything to be ashamed of. 4th place is no joke. So.
Hey, 4th place at EVO is like next best thing to 1st place, if you ask me.
Oh,
really, Mike?
I'm just saying.
Mike knows best.
Just saying, dog. Just saying.
Yipes. Did you see any new Marvel tech this weekend? Anything interesting catch your eye in the brackets this weekend? In the grand finals and top 8, we saw a lot of, the same old past couple years. Lots of virgin.
In terms of combos, yeah, those are the same old. But I was really impressed with a lot of the neutral game from everybody in the top 8. Top 32, really. Like, everybody has definitely improved a lot on their ground game this time around. So you can really see a lot of leveling up in terms of that. So definitely, I can appreciate some good neutrals. So top 8, top 32 to top 8 was really good in terms of that.
Do you feel like that's really where Marvel players should be focusing right now? Because if the one thing that all 3 of the top 3 players have in common is, they're the 3 best players, but I would argue they're the 3 best players in neutral. If you watch those guys play.
Yeah, man. I mean, definitely, if you want to hang or you want to even try to bust out and compete, trying to beat the best players, you definitely got to sharpen up on the neutral side of things. So hopefully that was a statement right there for top 8 in terms of the neutral. So it was really good.
That's a bro. Similar question to you about Blaze Blue. I know that we dropped the patch a couple months ago. There's been some changes. Valkenheim went down a little bit. Osriel went up a little bit. Kokonoa got nerfed, but he's still, she's still probably either A+ or S tier. Izayoi up a little bit, especially with some of the places on the East Coast the past couple of weeks. So there's been a lot of shifts. Anything surprising for the actual metagame from Blaze Blue this weekend that kind of caught your eye?
So there were actually 2 things that really stood out to me at EVO, and neither of them were actually changes in the game. They're just things that maybe we hadn't really picked up on over here. Tiku was the Tager player that made top 8, and he was able to beat Kokonoe's using Overdrive to make an anti-air whiff, and no one had really seen that ever before, but it was absolutely match-changing because it was a situation where Kokonoe had absolutely no reason not to press it. So, of course, they did, but then he punished it with the only a massively resource-intensive way that he could, and through that, he was able to take out a number of Kokonoes. So that was a big one, and the other one was an option select that's kind of under the surface called Fuzzy Jump, where you go down, back, up, back, down, back, and you actually beat 3 or 4 offensive choices at the same time, and we hadn't really picked up on it because it's very subtle. I mean, it just looks like the character jumps and the player's psychic. But we've all been looking into that very heavily after that.
All right. Back to the questions from the internets, the Warriors. Easy Mono, first question out to Yipes. Did EVO 2014 make you want to pick up any new games going into this next year?
Definitely. I've been playing Ultra a lot as of recent. So seeing how the game has evolved in terms of the meta game and everything, I definitely want to get back in the mix of things. So it's definitely Street Fighter. Definitely Street Fighter.
Like Ross, you interested in any new games after EVO?
Man, it's tough. It's really tough. I mean, on like one hand, I'm really happy to see that top 3 in Marvel was Champ, Justin, and Chris G. You know, because those are like the best 3 Marvel players, hands down, most consistent and all that. So it kind of gave me a little faith in the game. But then just the thought of picking it up and going to training mode instantly throws that idea out into the gutter. So I think I'm still going to be sticking with Ultra Street Fighter 4 going into the next year.
Dasta, bro, you looking at any new games on your rotation after EVO?
Yeah, a lot. This is kind of the year of the anime. So we have Persona 4 Arena 2 coming out. We had the patch just hit for Arcana Heart 3. We have Guilty Gear Xrd, and we have Under Night and Birth. And I'm trying to pick up all of those on top of BlazBlue. So yeah, we've got a lot going on.
Going to be spending a lot of time over at Game Center.
Yes, a lot of time at Game Center.
Right on. Right on. Yipes, what did you think about... Well, I don't know. Did you catch any of the stream? Because I was watching and I was very impressed with Persia's commentary. Have you been guys practicing together? I was really impressed.
Nah, to be honest, man, she just really stepped up her game in general. So the more that she stepped up the game, the more of an understanding she had of the game. So she definitely stepped up on her commentary gig. So I'm very proud of her. Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of good feedback from a lot of people.
I was definitely... I had not heard her do any commentary before. I don't get a lot of time to watch streams these days, but I was very impressed. So, yeah, that was good stuff.
Yeah, big ups to my boo boo. I mean, she did her thing.
So, that's Mike Ross, you finished 17th at Ultra Street Fighter 4, which I mean, that's not too low on the bracket, my friend. That's pretty good. How'd you feel about your performance this year?
I went in with a game plan. I told myself in advance, like most people know, even that are like around my area, I don't practice. I was hanging out and doing everything else. But before EVO, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a player, competitor, you get that hunger. It starts striking back in you. And I just told myself, I already know how to play the game. I know what pretty much everybody else can do. The only thing I can do now at this point, since my character is the second worst character in the game, is I have to just sit there, lame people out, and do absolutely nothing. And, if people watch like a lot of my matches, I'll see that. I did nothing. And it got me all the way to 17th, so.
Who's the worst character in the game?
DJ. DJ's the worst. And
even you'll admit that DJ is the worst.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mike, watch what you say, man. Then you lose to a DJ, bro.
Yo, no, hey, no, listen, you got to hear me out. Yeah. Let me talk real quick. DJ beats Honda.
Oh, option selected.
That's the only character he beats is Honda. So
that was a god like OS.
I'm just saying.
That was a god like OS. Wow.
So,
thank you.
If DJ is the worst character in the game and Honda's the second worst character in the game, DJ beats Honda. Wouldn't that make Honda the worst character in the game?
Well, Honda beats Dan, and Honda beats Hakan, I think.
Oh, and DJ only beats Honda.
DJ just beats Honda. That's it. That's why he's the worst character in the game.
What do you think of all these people? Like right when Ultra came out, we're talking about how Khan was A tier, how Khan was A+ tier. Like, what do you think about that?
These are the same people that read the changes and said Fei Long was nerfed and unplayable.
I think Filipino Champ was saying that though.
Then he doesn't know how to play the game.
Yo.
And just keeping it simple as that. Like people look at these changes and they jump to all these conclusions, and I'm like, you guys are all idiots. Fei Long got adjusted. He's a fair character now. He's still overpowered. Hakan could be like a threat. Like Hakan will beat Dalsum, but I don't see him doing like much work unless you just don't know how to play the game. It's just me. I don't know. I'm like, sometimes I feel myself a little too much, you know, and I think I'm like really good, and that I understand Street Fighter. I don't think a lot of people understand the game yet.
Dacid, I'm just going to pose this to you. I think you would have a funny quip for this. Harrison wants to know what do you think about a 14-year-old kid winning second place in Tekken?
What?
What am I supposed to say about that?
Tekken Tag 2, a 14-year-old kid got second place.
I mean, good for him. Actually, we had a similar phenomenon. We had a 15-year-old come out of the woodwork in Blaze Blue, and he placed 9th, I think. So, I mean, it's not quite as good, but
doesn't that make a little bit more sense, though? Really?
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
I'll give that one to you straight. That is pretty shocking.
All right, this is a good question. It comes from our good friend Kevin Mercado. He's done some commentary for us. I play winner the Gaga guy on Twitter. Yipes, what was the best off-stream match or money match that you watched at EVO?
You said off-stream or money match?
Off-stream or money match, yeah.
You know what? To be very honest, I did not really sit back and watch a lot of pool play, but the only one I could really say was Champ versus Daiko that I actually saw on the side.
Yeah, they uploaded that to somebody uploaded a hand cam version of that to YouTube. That was a pretty good match.
I was definitely, you probably heard me talking mad shit in the background. I'm pretty sure.
Yes, you could hear you in the background.
Definitely. But yeah, that's pretty much the only match I really saw. The rest, I was just chilling in the front, watching all the matches from Smash Brothers to Tekken, you name it. I was there watching it all. So,
Mike Ross, what was the best match that you saw off stream, or the best money match that you saw?
And it was kind of in the same boat. I didn't get to see a whole lot. Dang, I really can't answer that without sounding arrogant, so I'm just going to say silence. But you know I'm not going to say silence, so my favorite match was me versus Dr. Offred.
Yeah!
From China, because I beat him so bad the first game that he stayed at the character select screen for like 8 minutes and didn't know what to do. And then, you know, there's only like 3 people watching that, so.
That felt better than you beating Latif?
oh,
You know what? Yeah, it felt better than me beating Latif because Latif is a homie at the end of the day. You know, like Daco is like one of the best players from China. And I'm sure if that match was streamed and on Salty Bet, it would have been like $18 million to $12, you know, in his favor. So, like, beating him so convincingly just felt so good. Plus, it's a bad match, but whatever.
This isn't really a question for the panel. I just want to state, going back a little bit to the 14-year-old kid. You know, just for the record, the 14-year-old kid did beat Bronson Tran. So I just want to.
Man, he's never gonna live that one down.
That Bronson Tran did lose the 14-year-old kid. So I just want to say, Yipes mentioned Smash Brothers. I'll go to Dacid, bro. What did you think of Smash Brothers Top 8? It was long this year, and Mango repeated. I had picked Mango to win. I actually made a wise investment with regards to Mango. Were you surprised at all with the result for Smash Brothers?
I made some wise investments as well. I think the most surprising part of Smash Brothers was either Axis Pikachu, which was absolutely insane as always, but even more insane than usual, or the fact that Hungrybox beat Armada twice. That was not something that people were expecting.
I think Mango won, but Hungrybox was probably the star of the show.
Hungrybox was, yeah, he was definitely. I mean, you just don't see Hungrybox beating Armada, especially not twice in the same tournament. That's not a thing that happens in Smash. So
right.
That was definitely the shocker there, and a very unpopular one. I heard a lot of people say they really wanted the run back of Mango versus Armada, because that is a set that has been going back and forth forever. I think currently in tournaments they are 8-8, and maybe
Yes.
like a round off, but
That is
like
accurate.
very even sets, and people were really looking forward to that one. Honestly, I loved the grand finals. I loved Mango versus Hungrybox. It was actually very intense. It went 3-2 down to the last or second last stock. So, yeah, I like that too.
My 2 highlights from Smash, man, was how united that Smash scene is. You know what I mean? How they stuck around with their game. You know what I mean? Prague and D1, they almost made me cry, man. Like, come on, guys.
I was crying, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely almost busted a tear. That and Hungrybox playing standing up. Wow, that's hunger, man. You know somebody hungry when he's standing up, man.
He's like literally hungry.
That dude was standing up. I was like, man, and it was like throughout the whole top 8. The top 8 could be grueling, man. And he is standing up the whole time.
Well, especially because Armada and Hungrybox, when they play, their sets go 30 minutes, 40 minutes. Like, that's the longest set in Smash Brothers between the two of them.
He was standing up, man. That was a highlight though for me. Yeah, did I get kicked or is this we just got an awkward silence there? Oh, okay.
I think Derry's gone.
You know, if I want to fill the silence, I never got to say my best money match. BlazBlue had a phenomena in just before the top 8 where they had essentially a $5,000 money match for the tickets to Japan for Arc Revo.
Wow.
So that was one of my highlights for sure. SG ended up taking it, but it was a wild set.
What was how much?
5,000, because that's how much, a round trip to Japan for 2 people is.
Wow.
So what you're saying is, so for those of you guys that don't know at home, Arxis put up $5,000 to the highest placing North American competitor in the bracket.
That's right.
And so if you finish the highest out of any North American competitor, you won $5,000 and you won the right to go to Arc Revo.
Yeah, and what was great about it is we had the match just before top 8 where it was the last 2 Americans in the bracket fighting each other.
So that was like a finals in itself right there.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Wow.
SG, after he won, ran it back and put the money on the line and played for
What?
the money. That's pretty boss.
Cojones.
Got them huevos.
The huevos. Hell yeah. Man, I don't know. I think the only money matches I had was the roulette table, man.
That's a 100-0 matchup.
That was, yeah, I went against the grain. I did pretty well, though. I did pretty well.
I just want to add that I had a $100 chip fall out of my pocket while I was at the Broken Tier booth, and that thing has never been recovered, so I'm still salty.
Oh, I'm shocked.
You know damn well somebody took it and put it on.
Oh yeah, they saw that chip on the ground and they picked that up real quick.
They were like, "Oh, this was in Mike Ross's pocket." Oh, yes.
I was mad the entire weekend about that. Holy goodness. Anyway, hey, but guys, I gotta bounce right now. I gotta go take Flash Metroid to the airport so he can get back to Miami. So I want to thank you for having me on the panel as always, gentlemen.
All right,
let's get to have
I'll get at you guys later. Thanks everybody watching too.
Good to see you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Right,
later, Mikey.
I'm shocked that the fighting game community, of all communities, where you can always rely on people to have integrity and to never steal, would take Mike Ross's $100 chip. And
I feel like, honestly, I feel like in Vegas it's a little different. You see a $100 chip on the ground. Like, do you say that's Mike Ross's chip, like, or do you just say I got lucky?
You're like, thank you, gambling god.
I would take Mike Ross's $100 chip too, man.
I would pick it up off the ground if he was looking at me. Still put it in my pocket. Yo, you dropped this, mine now.
I would have been like, yo, Mike, I found your $100, but the good news is I flipped it. The bad news is I bet it all again and I lost it all.
You tell him after you lose it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Down the chip. All right. This is a question from Biosnake, twitter.com/Biosnake. Yipes, how'd you feel watching Justin's barrel roll?
Well, I mean, I guess it was an intentional barrel roll from what I saw. I actually thought he busted his knee, man, when I seen him fall, but it was good for the most part. I give it a 6.
A 6?
I give it a 6. It was cool.
At least 6.5.
Because it wasn't intentional, so if it was, then I would have gave him a solid 8.
He out-Marned Marn in that one. Marn is like the king of doing goofy shit on stream camera, and then it gets made into some GIF they post everywhere. And
that brings me back to the Mr. Wizard and Marn race, man.
He out-Marned Marn. I gotta say, like, I watched him do it when it happened, and I just died. Like, at first I was like, what is he doing? And then I realized he was just so happy he was rolling around on the ground. And I just started laughing because, first of all, I was happy for him, but also it was the funniest fucking thing I think I've seen in my entire life. Like, but I did hear that he legitimately did hurt his knee at some point.
Yeah, he got like a little bruise, nothing crazy. He ain't break his knee or nothing in his knee, so that's good. But the barrel roll, yeah, I give it a 6.
I gave it a 6. Dassa, bro, your score for the barrel roll?
Oh, it was 6.5, maybe 7.
Too much
Maybe
respect.
it's
Too much
Too much
respect.
respect? Yeah,
Too much.
maybe.
Just keep it at the 6.5. Right there we go.
He's gonna get a big head. He's gonna start rolling everywhere. It's gonna be a new thing. You gotta keep him low. All right. That's it, bro. This question is from Pidgey71. He wants to know, now that Evo is over, what can we do or change in the FGC to continue to get high numbers and continue to draw more sponsors?
You know, this has been very on the minds of everyone in the anime fighting game community because we've always kind of had this thing where we kind of play like the next game and drop the previous game. And going forward from here, I think we're all kind of together. We're gonna try to stop doing that to the best of our degrees and just kind of cross promote across all the games and all the genres. And because like anime games, like they're in this year, they're gonna be 5 games strong. I mean, we can't really afford to just drop the past game anymore, you know? So between that, and then I've been working with Prague. I've been trying to cross promote between Smash and BlazBlue as much as possible. That's been working great. We've had a lot of success with that, and we're going to try to move out from there, you know, just to see who we can cross promote with in every regard, and then put all the communities together to the best of our ability so that we can all see huge numbers that we've never reached before.
I think cross-pollination is a smart idea. I've never understood why communities in the fighting game community have to be so segregated.
We've been a bit allergic to in the past, yeah.
Not even just, I mean, like, obviously there's the more notorious segregation between anime and Capcom, and then, you know, between Capcom and 3D. But even, like, you know, even in the Capcom, right, like, there's kind of a segregation between Street Fighter players and Marvel players. There's even, in anime, there's kind of a segregation between players in certain games. I never understood why that has to happen like that.
Well, in anime's defense, Marvel is an anime game.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is,
absolutely.
It definitely is.
I can quote you on that, right, Yipes?
Yeah. I actually said that. You know what? I was I don't know what curly that was, but I was talking to Ryan, and I'm like, Ryan, you do know that this game is anime, right? And he just couldn't believe it or whatever. So, but yeah, I mean, I've delved in a lot of anime before. I used to play Guilty Gear, and
awesome.
And was Rumblefish 2. I used to play that game a lot actually back in Chinatown Fair.
Mm-hmm.
So that's definitely I like me some anime. So I wouldn't mind cross promoting with you in terms of BlazBlue and stuff like that.
Are you gonna be back with Xrd?
Well, I'll try it. Kugi actually was like putting a battery in my back to play the game, so I'll try it.
Nice.
I think that coming into 2015, the game I'm most excited to try after EVO is Street Fighter Cross Tekken. I think that game has a big future ahead of it, and it's going to be the next big game.
I hope it's finally shaking its stigma, man, because that was like a week of bad gameplay, and it lasted forever. You know?
That game is rip and a half, dude. It didn't even make it back to EVO this year.
Oh my God.
Our producer is tweeting or is chatting at me right now a bunch of expletives. Anyway, Yipes, this question is from Stats Jeff. He wants to know how much do EVO results affect your perception of a player and where they rank in comparison to other top players?
To be honest, I never let it give me that different opinion about, this guy's better than the other guy. It's more so it showed me how prepared he got for the tournament than the other players. You know what I'm saying? So like you got certain players that'll probably ride the wave with the same old strategy that they would have, and then they wouldn't be successful. And then the other guy would come with a totally different game plan. Like for example, Justin against Chris G started Storm. You know what I'm saying? So against Chris. So like little things like that, little intricate things like that, I could see that they really got prepared for EVO. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
A lot of people, Flocker won EVO last year, right? Like he was the champion, and then he came into EVO this year. He got 5th place, but I don't think anyone picked him to win this year. He didn't win, but I mean, it's not outlandish to think that last year's EVO champion, who was still playing really top tier Marvel, who was playing just as good as he played last year, had just as much of a shot to win, but almost nobody was picking him to win.
Yeah, the fortunate thing for Flocker last year is that he didn't bump into Chris at all. So that one element in the tournament that didn't happen is what really gave Flocker the edge to win the tournament. And I mean, look, I love Flocker, but I mean, to be honest, Justin was supposed to win last year. He had the Infinite, and then he got like a Typhoon at the Pixel. All right, when he was about to kill Zero, and
heartbreaking.
That was heartbreaking. But you know what? I'm not gonna take nothing away from Flocker. He did what he had to do. He punished him, and he just took advantage of that. You know what I mean? That's just what it is in fighting games. But this year around, I could tell from Flocker's gameplay, like he was kind of confident, but you could tell in his character selection that he really wasn't. because he was like playing Zero May Cry, and I could say for a fact that his Dante was not ready for no high level play like that. So that kind of bit him in the ass. I felt like he should have had more confidence in his championship team, which was Zero, Virgil, Hawkeye, but he rarely picked it. He definitely rarely picked it. I could see the change against Chris. The jam session worked great on Chris, but just Chris blew him up, man. So yeah.
All right, this is going to be the last question of the night. I gotta see who it's from. It comes from. Oh, I missed it. Oh no, this was actually from our producer. He thought it was a good question to ask. It is a good question to ask. It's going to be the last question I ask you guys. Dasabro first. Every year we have what we call the EVO moment. You know, it was Justin Wong getting parried by Daigo and Justin's Okuma comeback on Marvel 3. What was your pick for the EVO moment this year in 2014?
Well, without a single question, it was Galileo's 7 Justin Wong comebacks in top 8 of BlazBlue. I mean, it's like, if you haven't seen the footage, you might think I'm exaggerating, but it was otherworldly. It was impossible to believe that it was even happening. That's got to be my moment.
Yipes, your pick for EVO moment?
Mine was actually I have 2, but the last one that I'll say is the one that tops it off for me. Snake Eyes being Shen in those last couple of seconds, and the last round for them to qualify, and Coach Steve making top 8.
Coach Steve made top 8. He got the Canada Award for Rising Star this year. I thought that was a nice choice, and
that was definitely
It was the obvious choice. He was the most deserving by far. So if you guys want to go back and take a look at all the top 8s, you can take a look at the BlazBlue top 8 if you don't believe Dasabro's what he just claimed, although, to be honest, you should. It really was. He out-justed Justin. I've never seen a player in my entire life play just get repeatedly grabbed by the back of the head and have his face smashed into rock bottom and still come clawing his way back up. And Dogura gave him nothing. Like, there was no... Justin Wong meant to do the infinite and got a typhoon by a pick. Like, that did not happen. Dogura gave him nothing. He took it. You know, he played his way into the championship. It was really impressive to watch. He deserved every dollar that he earned that weekend. So you can catch the top 8 for every top 8 or every grand final game except for Street Fighter 4 at youtube.com/evo2kvids, and then you can go to youtube.com/capcomfighters for the Street Fighter top 8. So you can catch top 8 vids from every game. I know a lot of people missed Tekken Tag because it was on Friday. So if you missed Tekken, if you missed Bronson getting blown up by a 14-year-old kid, any of the games from this past weekend, you can go to those 2 channels and you can check them out. Speaking of channels, make sure you subscribe to our channels at twitch.tv/iplaywinner, where you can watch this show and our 2 other podcasts at Super Desperation Radio, devoted to SNK games and anime games on Mondays at 7, and The Show That Sucks with Harrison and Hanzo Gonzo on Tuesdays at 8. And then we also stream tournaments and things here. We still do that from time to time. It's more rare now, but we still stream tournaments. Make sure you follow our guest site, twitter.com/Dasabro. Thank you, Dasid, for joining us.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Sure. Twitter.com/IFCYipes, the Mr.
Yes, man. Thank you for having me. Oh yeah, just a quick plug, and I'm about to stream soon with Kyohei.
All right.
With Marlon Pie, so just doing it in about a couple, like 10-15 minutes.
What's the Twitch channel for that?
Oh, twitch.tv/IFCYipes.
That's easy enough to remember. So make sure you guys migrate over in that direction and give Yipes the love and the viewership. And then also thank you to Mike. He's not here. He had to go take Flash Metro to the airport. Twitter.com/that Mike Ross guy. Hold on a second. I gotta ask. Oh, I'm sorry. The Show That Sucks is on Tuesdays at 10, not 9 or 8. I said 8, but I think Hanzo Gonzo doesn't even rise from his grave until 9:30. So he's 10 o'clock is when the show starts.
Man, how did Mike get 4th place in a podcast?
I don't know. It's where he belongs.
How do you do that?
It's honestly like I think you ever see like The Prophecy with Christopher Walken? I think that sort of stuff would start happening in real life if Mike Ross ever actually won like EVO, or like even got 2nd place. The skies would crack open and it would start raining blood and it would just be chaos. pandemonium everywhere. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. The Fray comes to you live most Thursdays now at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I wanted to make our announcement about our co-host tonight, but I'm going to save it off, although I will give you a hint. The co-host that's replacing Magus1234 was on the show tonight. I'll leave it at that. Make sure you guys tune in next week. And until then, yo, Fray.
Right?
I won't interfere, but if you take too long, I just might leave this atmosphere. I will be right here. I won't interfere, but if you take too long, I just might